The Championship returned from the international break for round 12 this weekend. Here's what went down on my hot takes. 1. All change. We had a different look in the dugouts for Millwall, Sheffield Wednesday and Birmingham this weekend, but none of those three clubs got themselves a win. It was Wayne Rooney's debut as Birmingham boss, and the first game of a tricky looking start for Rooney ended with an 89th minute goal from Morgan Rogers taking all 3 points. While Rooney is limbering up to face 3 current top 6 opponents in the next 4 games for Blues, Borough are flying up the table, and that is 5 wins in a row for his old teammate Michael Carrick. It was a similar outcome for new Sheffield Wednesday boss Danny Röhl, as they also went under 1-0 to a goal in the 82nd minute from Yasser Asprilla. That awful record of no wins for Wednesday in 23-24 now extends to a whopping 12 games, and they've failed to score in 7 of their last 8. Huge job for the new boss to turn this around, and that is what Big Val Ismail is trying to do at Watford, and this win takes the Hornets out of the bottom 5. Finally, Adam Barrett is in caretaker charge of Millwall after Gary Rowett left the club a few days back. The Lions drew 1-1 at Preston. Handy result under the circumstances, especially considering they were behind to an early Frokjer Jensen goal when Zian Fleming bent one in from the edge of the box. No wins in 5 for Preston, who drop out of the top 3. 2. Rain stopped play. I was on the M1 near Mansfield heading to Rotherham v Ipswich when word got to me that it had fallen victim to the weather and been postponed. If you don't laugh in these situations, you literally become old man yells at cloud meme. So I'll say no more, and we'll look at how the top of the table played out in Ipswich's absence. Leicester's ungodly win record improved further, although they were behind for a whole 24 minutes at Swansea before powering through to win 3-1, with Isahaku and Iheanacho securing win number 7 in a row. 11 out of 12, and the Foxes are the first ever second tier team to win their first 6 away games. They are waltzing this division. Behind them though, Leeds won 3-2 at Norwich and slipped up into 3rd position, where they've frankly been inevitably headed for a fair while now. Norwich were actually 2-0 up at half time, but Leeds came storming back with a double from Somerville to give Daniel Farke a win on his return to the club, where he won 2 championship titles. Leeds 20 points in the last 9 games. This is starting to get very interesting in terms of second place. Feels like first place might have already come and gone already. 3. Fundamentals. A couple of the most fundamental predictors to league success are clean sheets and home wins. If you can do both at the same time, you're laughing. And for the first time this season at Blackburn and at Bristol City, the home fans were treated to a clean sheet and a home win. Bristol City moved into the top 8 with their 1-0 win over Coventry City. Sky Blues fans will point to many in-game metrics being in their favour, but Rob Dickey's goal made sure the most significant one was with Bristol City. Coventry had only lost 1 in 10 going into this one. Hard to beat is great, of course, but only the bottom 3 have won fewer games than last year's playoff finalists, Coventry. Same story at Blackburn, as Joe Rankin Costello hit the only goal in a 1-0 win over Cardiff. We'd stereotype Blackburn as a high chances for and against type side, so a nice 1-0 home scoreline will do much to debunk that narrative. Cardiff have now scored 1 point in their last 3 games after that lovely 4-game winning streak had done so much to swell optimism levels in South Wales. 4. Lone Stars. A couple of lone players secured their size a couple of 2-1 wins in round 12. Ryan Fraser, on loan at Southampton from Newcastle, came off the bench and popped up with a late winner for Saints at Hull. It's no surprise there wasn't much between 2 of the more stylistically similar sides in the Championship, but that razor-fine margin went Southampton's way, and their 3 wins in the last 4 and up into the top 5 with the other 2 Year 1 parachute teams. Wasn't quite so dramatic at the Bet365, but by God did Alex Neil need this 2-1 win for Stoke over his former side Sunderland. Stoke's lone star was Luke McNally, borrowed from Burnley, who planted in the winner from a set play early in the second half. Sunderland made plenty, but this was lost in their own penalty box and they dropped to 6th. Stoke attached themselves to the very tail end of the congested pack, but in very undermining fashion. They've lost the following game every time they've won this season. The Potters will want to be all set for the midweek round, and so will you on the Fan Hub app. You're going to need to get your lineup predictions in, check into the stadium for your team's game, and get your predictions in for the Fan Hub 5s to fill your wallet with fan FI and spend on merchandise or a light beverage. Download the app and sign up with my golden ticket code BEN-CU7. 5. Future Echoes. I did a video on the bottom 3 sides in the international break, and a lot of comments suggested that not much was going to be changing in the Championship relegation picture as autumn blends into winter. It's only one round, but those people have been right so far, with today's results solidifying that bottom 3. Huddersfield's win over QPR was a double whammy for Rangers, as not only did they lose for the 8th time this season, the Terriers were there to be reeled in, and now the gap is 6 points. If you're stinking the place out at home, as QPR have been, then being 2 down within a quarter of an hour away from home is not the most helpful, is it? Huddersfield turned that early advantage into a 2-1 win, a first win for Darren Moore in charge, and they've only actually lost once in 8 games. The results today weren't good for Plymouth either, as the 3 teams below them at 2:59 p.m. all won and leapfrogged Argyle, who drew 0-0 at West Brom. Today's draw for Plymouth means there is still no away win on the board yet, and they're now part of the bottom 4. Argyle are at the vital 1 point per game standard for survival so far, but they've got to keep that 4-point gap intact, and they've got to start winning on the road. There you go, that's my hot takes for round 12. Let me know what you think of them, or better still, get your own in via the comments. It's another 3-game week for us, so things are going to move fast. But if you do have time to stay with the channel, then click here, and you can check out the latest episode of Championship Cheat Codes, looking at the incredible season of Fulham's Alexander Mitrovic back in 2021-22.